Welcome back to Movie Recap. Today, I'm going to explain a Korean fantasy film called The Dude in Me. Just leave a like on this video, sit back and relax. The film opens as we see businessman/yakuza boss, Jang, getting ready for his day, showing off his expensive collection of jewelry and clothes, and we see a little-ass steak being prepared, so we know he is rich. He steps outside, where he is greeted by an army of suited men all bowing lowly, greeting him as boss, before getting into his expensive car and heading to his office. In his office he meets with one of his subordinates who informs him that some small carpentry business that they are trying to drive out of town is holding out on their offer to buy out. Yang is not pleased and sends Mr. Bang and other minions to give the local shop a visit. They try to get the shop owner, Mr. Kim, to sign over his shop. When he hesitates, they generously give him 3 seconds to decide before respectfully forcing him and his employees. Such nice guys. After meeting with his superior, Mr. Jang then heads over to a local shop to get some mackerel ramen. Never heard of mackerel ramen. The shop owner expresses how he is overdressed to be eating mackerel ramen. Mr. Jang finishes his ramen and goes to pay, however another customer at the shop, a timid-looking schoolboy, interrupts and nervously expresses that he had lost his wallet before running out. The shop owner puts the bill on Mr. Jang and promises him a nice time later if he pays. Can someone tell me the location of that shop please? I really want to try her. Ramen noodles. That's right. Somehow both Mr. Jang and the timid boy end up in the same spot, the boy on top of a building trying to grab a shoe from a pole, and Jang on a phone call exactly beneath him. The kid slips and falls on top of Jang, and both end up in the hospital. As Jang opens his eyes, he is confused as to why a nurse is calling him a kid. He slowly stumbles out of bed as the nurse runs to get a doctor. He dizzily makes his way down the hospital hallway until he comes into a room and makes a shocking discovery. He is looking at his body, unconscious and in a coma as the nurses and doctors come running in, along with a strange man calling himself his father. He finally sees himself in a mirror and cannot believe his eyes. He is now in the body of the fat timid teen boy, while the boy trapped in his body is in a coma. As he sits there contemplating how this could have happened, he remembers the old shopkeeper promising him a good time if he pays for the kid. Maybe this was all her doing. Maybe that good time she offered was not what I thought. Please cancel my trip. He runs over to the same spot where the shop was, however he sees that it is gutted out and being demolished. A passerby tells him that the diner went out of business a long time ago, while he swears that he ate ramen there yesterday. One of Mr. Jang's rivals hears that he is in a coma and gets really excited, so I guess we'll be seeing more about that later on in the movie. Jang, in Kim's body, heads over to his house, however when his wife sees him, she screams and calls the police who arrest him. His father comes in and convinces the police that he is not well and they release him back to the hospital. There, he tries to wake his body up from the coma using high-level medical techniques, however his fails and he is caught by Mr. Jang's bodyguard laying on top of his own body. Jang still cannot accept that this is his new life but heads home with his new father who cooks him a shit ton of food for dinner. Jang, however, being a healthy man, refuses to eat until his father convinces him to give it a bite. He gives it a bite and immediately goes into a food blackout. Like a split personality, Moon Knight, Jake Lockley type deal, and destroys the pile of food. He goes to school, where he sees that Kim is not very popular and most of the kids avoid him. At lunch, he sees a girl, Oh Hyun-young, being bullied and he calls out to the girls to cut that shit out. Jay, local bully, comes over and challenges him to a fight after school and Jang definitely turns up. Jay tries to fight, but Jang slaps him so hard he forgot where he was for a second. He learns that Kim is just an easy target for bullies because he is so fat. Later, the same bullies, including Jay, try to get back some street cred by ganging up on another nerd in the bathroom. By ganging up, I mean trying to undress him to take a picture of his junk. Just then though, Jang comes out of the bathroom, pushing the boys to the ground. Jay's phone falls to the ground and Jang picks it up. Jay tries to talk tough in front of his friends, but Jang reintroduces his to him right hand, giving a slap so hard he started to contemplate the meaning of life at this point. Later, when Jang goes through the phone he sees a video that explains how Kim fell from the building. He sees how Jay forced Kim to climb on the wall to get Hyun-young's shoes and that made him fall from the building. Later the boss for the school gang Chul-ho has stern words with his lackeys about losing the phone with the evidence when Kim shows up. He tells them that he made a copy of the video as evidence and threatens them to leave him be. In the night, we see Mrs. Jang leaving a hotel with her lover in her arms when Jang's right-hand man, Mr. Chang, pulls up on them and threatens to expose their affair photos to the boss. Later, as Mr. Chang sleeps, Jang walks in and greets him. Startled, Mr. Chang threatens to kick his ass when Jang knees him in the nuts. Poor Mr. Chang had to knock them out of his back. Before he can attack again, Jang begins to tell him things about himself that only he knows. Jang asks him why he is guarding his body every day without any orders, and Mr. Chang informs him that Mr. Yang, the dude who was so happy to hear of his accident, is planning to attack their turf. After school the next day, Oh Hyun bumps into Jang and drops her pink teddy, and Jang runs after her to return it. When they finally catch up, Oh Hyun's mother Mi-sun comes out to greet her. Immediately Jang is starstruck as he calls her by name. He remembers Mi-sun as the love of his life when they were younger and cannot believe that Mi-sun is Oh Hyun's mom. He takes some of Oh Hyun's hair and gets it tested, and to his surprise, Oh Hyun is actually his daughter. This makes him start to look out for her more, like taking the blame when she is wrongfully accused of stealing lipstick. After failing to get all the kids assassinated, Jang goes to meet with Min-sun, and the two chat about Oh Hyun being bullied at school, and Min-sun curses Jang for being a deadbeat father without knowing that he is right in front of her. Mrs. Jang, in order to level the playing field a bit, fakes documents to show that Jang has been stealing millions from her father's company. When Jang asks Mr. Chang for advice on getting closer to his daughter, Mr. Chang suggests doing activities together, also suggesting that Jang gets Kim's body in shape. Oh Hyun is then forced by her mother to work out with Jang at the gym, and we get this cute montage of Oh Hyun learning to fight, and Jang loses weight in approximately 1 minute. Now an entirely new person, Jang shows up at school, and everybody goes nuts, even the dudes are like, damn, dude got hot. Later, Jang is on his way from the gym when he sees his father being mugged in an alleyway by loan sharks and intervenes. They attack Jang, and his dad tries to help him by using his body to protect Jang from the blows. When they leave, Jang's father is knocked out cold. Jang then sends the badass Mr. Chang to get revenge on the guys, and Mr. Chang kicks their asses, good and proper, then sips some tea while he explains why they will forget the interest to Jang's father's debt. At school, Oh Hyun turns into a badass and defends herself against her bullies. Later, Jang has dinner with Mi-sun, and the two chat about Jang and her memories of him. A drunk man stumbles in and orders wine, and when Mi-sun goes to serve him, he smacks her bum. Jang gets pissed and defends her, beating one man until she runs out yelling at him. During that time, she hears Jang continuously call her Mi-sun, and it brings back memories. When she asks him who he really is, he explains everything to her, also telling her things that only he would know about her. Instead of being happy though, Mi-sun gets mad and runs him away as she recalls how he broke up with her to marry his boss's daughter. Oh Hyun gets invited to a party being held by the student council president whom she has a crush on, but something seems off. Jang and Mi-sun go out on a lunch date, and he tries to apologize to her, but she is not having it. When she tries to walk away, Jang steals a kiss from her and gets a taste of his own medicine. While still trying to make things right, he gets a call that Oh Hyun may be in danger as one of his friends overheard plans to mess with her at the party. He immediately rushes over, knocking out some guards to get inside before confronting Min-woo, the student president who wasn't such a good dude after all. When he tries to get Oh Hyun out of the party, Min-woo corners him with his buddies. Jang straight up kills one of the dudes before the rest jump him. He kicks their ass, then gets into a balls weighing contest with Chul-ho, the leader of the school gang. They punch each other to a bloody pulp, and Jang pushes him into the pool. Min-woo then tries to attack Oh Hyun, who defends herself and ensures that he won't be having any kids in the future. When Mr. Chang tries to visit Jang's body in the hospital, he learns that the chairman has restricted anyone from visiting Jang's body. Oh Hyun asks Jang out on a date, saying that she likes him, but he's not with that sweet home Alabama shit, so he turns her down. She goes to her mom to tell her, and Mi-sun almost has a heart attack trying to convince her to stay away. All three meet in an alley, and Jang confesses his love for Mi-sun right in front of Oh Hyun, who has no clue as to who he really is. Kim suddenly wakes up from his coma when Mrs. Jang sends Mr. Yang after him, and he goes to look for his father, who is scared of this big gangster trying to hug him. Jang also comes home and the three sit and try to find a way to get this mess sorted out. Jang tries to play a little trick and gets Kim in his body to apologize to Mi-sun, however Mr. Yang barges into the restaurant with his goons and the act is all broken up. Kim and Jang's body breaks down in tears and Jang send him to hide. Someone tell me how this comedy romance movie got more action than a back alley on a Friday night. Jang beats up almost all of the gangsters, however one gives him a hard time. The two brawl it out in the restaurant, and just before Jang could win, he is knocked on the head with a bottle which leaves him dizzy. He is about to win again before Mr. Yang himself comes in and holds him at knife point. Mi-sun, however, comes out with a gas cylinder and a lighter and holds the entire restaurant hostage, ordering them to stop and get out. Mi-sun then pours her heart out to Jang, telling him how she felt alone after all these years, and ends up hugging Jang. Mrs. Jang is found out by her father for the lies that she had told, and Jang sends in Kim and his body to meet with the chairman, his boss, and Mrs. Jang's father. The chairman then surprisingly offers his entire estate and power over to Kim and Jang's body, however Kim turns down the offer. Jang, listening over a radio, is surprised by this, but when Kim comes out, Jang runs over and hugs him, telling him thank you. In a fit of rage, Mrs. Jang, in her car, sees both men hugging in the street and tries to mow them down with her car, leaving Jang, in Kim's body, all messed up. Everyone rushes to the hospital, and Oh Hyun finally sees Jang's real face, and she states that she knows him as her father from her mom's photos. Jang, in Kim's body, painfully reaches out to her, telling her that he is her real father and apologizes for not being there, fearing that he may be dying. As the words leave his mouth, he flatlines, and Kim and Jang's body also collapses. Jang awakens on an operating table, still in Kim's body with bright lights overhead. A masked face appears, and he hears a familiar voice asking him if he had a good time. Turns out, this is the lady from the shop who offered him a good time for paying for Kim. Later on, both men have returned to their bodies. Kim and Oh Hyun started to date each other, becoming popular and well-liked, while Jang settles down with Mi-sun to help her run her shop, giving up his gangster lifestyle for a family. Thanks for watching. You can check out my other videos here.